Live from Kakariko Village. Broadcast throughout the Retroverse, transmitted to the real world via a maze of wires connecting a Super Nintendo to a Wii, to a Wi-Fi network, and finally to the Internet. The Techno Funk Boy presents the Retro Zoo Super Show. Now here are your hosts, Kai and Steven.
Greetings one, greetings all. This is the Retro Zoo Super Show. I am your host, Kai. I was going to say I was flying solo today, but we are finally joining back today is Drum. Drum, how's it going today?
I am functioning normally.
That's really good to hear, man. So for those, and we've got a lot of inquiries about how Drum has been. It was pretty rough there for a little bit, and things have quieted down around here quite a bit, so it's been really good. But Drum is back up and running, and ready to go, and so things are kind of getting back to normal, and it's really nice. So let me step back. Let me step back just a little bit, because last Friday, in fact, we celebrated our first full year on the air. And that was our actual anniversary date. Our first 3 episodes dropped on September 7th of 2017. And that was a Thursday. For those who were with us in the beginning, we started off broadcasting on Thursdays and kind of moved that to Friday. We found that people actually liked that quite a bit better. It was a nice way to kind of prepare for the weekend, kind of get the juices flowing for the weekend, and to kind of get in the right frame of mind, then just relax and enjoy yourself a little bit, and mentally decompress from the week. And so we found that people really enjoyed that more. So, but that first day was on a Thursday. And we released our first episodes on that day. And so on Friday of last week, that was our official year anniversary. Now we're much more interested. I mean, me personally, it's like I don't want keeping track of too many anniversaries will make my head hurt. I find it much easier to just kind of, celebrate certain milestones. And so we weren't making a really huge deal about our anniversary date. We were more gearing up for episode 50, which was a huge milestone, and very proud to have hit that. Even that was a little bit meaningless, because I think we had 3 unnumbered episodes between episodes 1 and 50, and so that really was technically like the 53rd episode or something like that. But I mean, really, none of these things actually matter in life. They're just a way for us to make up reasons to celebrate. And so that's what we did. But long story short, too late. Our first anniversary was on Friday of last week. Now, after episode 50, we were trying to kind of take a little bit of a break. We were trying to do so while not actually missing any broadcast weeks, because we haven't up till now. We haven't missed any weeks. And so that was important to us. And so we, pre-recorded some interviews to air during the normal Friday slot, and that way we could relax a little bit. But as we were trying to get back into the full swing of things, just everything seems to stress out here at once. And so I was scheduled to actually do this episode last week, and Stephen was still on a break, and I sat down with some friends, and we kind of all agreed that it would be really good to take a day off, a week off. And so that's what we did. And so I know everybody's been asking about that as well. We did try to get the word out ahead of time, and got some. I appreciate all the good reactions to that, and things have kind of all, or at least mostly, fallen into place, into good order here, and that way I'm able to come back here a little bit more relaxed and refreshed than I would have been last week. It's fun to know that we did the entire year without missing a week, and in fact had a couple of extra episodes in there. It was interesting that, the one time we missed was the actual anniversary episode. Not that we really would have celebrated it, but it was, the timing of it was, I guess a year later. I finally ran out of steam for a week, and so now we're back, and now we're running, and looking forward to this episode. A little bit about what is going on. So we got a couple of things we're doing today. We are going to start our new series on a great classic game that most of you will recognize. I will remind you that we did a series, a long series on Dragon Warrior. What was that? Around episode 30, it was where that hovered. But it was a good long series where we were tackling the game from all sorts of different angles. We're going to do a similar thing, not quite as intense, not quite as long this time, but we are going to be tackling Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And so, look forward to several episodes on that. We're really getting into that. The reason that we're going to do that now is because if you heard last week's episode, we were talking to our friends from the Backlog Breakdown, and we mentioned that in the Facebook group, the Backlog Book Club, we were going to a lot of us be playing Zelda 2. That was not official when we did the episode. It is official now. So for this entire month, we are playing Zelda 2, at least as far as we dare get. It's a challenging game. But I've joined in the fun, and I'm having a great time with the game. And so while I'm playing it, Stephen has been getting in on the action a little bit. We decided that we wanted to talk about the game in some depth while we're busy playing it. So, I'm trying to hit the game on Saturday mornings on the Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/technofunkboy. If you want to find us there, just if you want to shoot on over there, the link is in the show notes. You can click that, you can hit follow, and then that will send you notifications of when I am going live and what game I'm playing. But Saturday mornings is when I'm trying to play this game some and having a great time with it. We'll get more into that. But we are also going to be introducing a new sponsor, and so I'm very excited about this. It's Phil's Gaming Emporium, and we're going to be talking with Phil in some depth. We're not going to necessarily talk to him directly every week, but in this case, since we're introducing him to y'all for the first time, wanted to bring him on, let him chat about what he does a little bit, about his vision for his retro gaming store, and just let us let us get to know him a little bit. And so that's going to be coming up right before the break, and then after the break we're going to get more into Zelda 2 and kind of an interesting approach to the game that I think that you're going to enjoy. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and so we will get on that. So before we do that, though, a couple of things that I've actually been getting into lately is I was challenged by one of our listeners to play through Phantasy Star, the old Master System game. This was a game that Sega did back in 87, came out here in 88. It spawned a very long-lasting series that has been going strong for quite some time. I was invited to play this game. I was also warned against playing the game because what people told me was that it was a bit of a slog, and I'm kind of okay with that. I mean, after all, I am working hard at speedrunning Dragon Warrior. And so, a lot of level grinding and that sort of thing, that's kind of okay with me. That's kind of one of the things I do. And so I was like, well, this seems like this is kind of up my alley, the really early kind of JRPG stuff I enjoy, and so we'll check that out. I've gotten a little bit away into that one and very much enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. I like the graphics, the play, the music quite a bit. I think the dungeons were very cool. And so I'm having a blast with the game as a whole. I'm also, as we mentioned, starting Zelda 2, and because why not? I finally downloaded Mega Maker, and this has been out for a little while, and so there's not really any reason why I should not have been playing this for a while or talked about it, ages ago. But this is kind of, and it's fan made. It's really interesting. It's fan made. It's kind of the Mega Man answer to Mario Maker, where Mario Maker, if you haven't seen it, you're probably living under a rock. In which case, thank you for downloading our podcast there under the rock. That's a special kind of dedication that we really do appreciate. But Mario Maker was a Wii U title where you were able to make your own Mario games and share them online for other people to play. And there's been a lot of Twitch streamers who have made just playing different Mario Maker levels, kind of part of their weekly routine, and done quite well with that. They're a lot of fun to watch. There's been several times at Games Done Quick events where they've done blind races where you put some really good players in front of some levels they've never seen before and see if they can figure them out. And these, of course, are exceedingly hard levels that I would never get through. But those are actually a blast to watch. So if you run across any Mario Maker races on Twitch, I'm from a Games Done Quick or any really any of the type of marathons or anything, very much worth the watch. They're real blast. So this is kind of the Mega Man answer to that, and Mario Maker was made by Nintendo, but Mega Maker is fan made and has not been taken down by Capcom. To which we give a hearty thank you to Capcom. It kind of ties into our discussion from a couple weeks ago about intellectual property, about emulation and that sort of thing. And there are these games like this one, or like one of the randomizers, which are kind of taking those properties from other games, but building an essentially new game around them. And I'm very appreciative of Capcom for so far leaving Mega Maker alone. I had some fun with it, and I'm interested in playing more. I'm a little embarrassed because I'm not good at Mega Man in general. I love Mega Man. Don't get me wrong. I love Mega Man. I got the first 4 Mega Man games on NES when they were released, and just really adored all of them. And as a child, I didn't actually beat any of them under my own power. I did beat them with the help of Game Genie, which is totally cheating. But I sunk some serious hours into all those games and very much enjoyed them. And so it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun getting back there. By the way, I've beaten Mega Man 2 as an adult. Usually I save states, which is kind of cheating, but not Game Genie cheating. That's a whole nother level of cheating. The same save states are a little bit different, but did utilize those. But I'd like to get back to the other ones too. But I really am enjoying that, and it is kind of a fun way to see some reimaginings of some Mega Man levels. So the stuff I saw, one of the reasons I didn't download it to begin with is I watched some videos of people playing some levels, and they were kind of garbage. I mean, they were bad. And, you're comparing it to like the Mario Maker levels that were getting a lot of attention, that were really, really good. And that was kind of a frustration that it's like, I didn't want to like do all the installation and get this rolling just to have every level be bad. But I'm not finding that to be the case at all. I'm not, there's a way to sort the levels by the highest rated ones or the lowest rated ones or whatever. And there's some garbage in there. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing, and I just by doing the most recent ones, and then, doing every page, doing 2 or 3 of them, that a lot of time and work has been put into these to make them interesting, to present often a challenge, and which is bad for me because challenges in Mega Man games is not the ideal thing. But yeah, so kind of fun and might be worth a look. I'm wondering if I should stream it. There's like so many games I want to be playing right now, and right now I'm streaming 3 times a week, Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Saturday mornings. And there's more than 3 games I want to play, and so that's presenting a problem. And I also don't want to put aside games for like 3 weeks, because then you lose the touch of it. And I'm finding that's can be problematic, especially with like Zelda 2. But, so I'm taking a look at it. It might be something I play just kind of periodically on stream, but I did really enjoy it. But really my focus, of course, has been on Zelda 2. And I'm not going to talk a lot about the gameplay today, because I want to get into this by a little bit of a different way. But I will say that I found it much more challenging than I expected to. And now a little bit of history. I actually got both Zelda. My friends had Zelda growing up, but I did not. And I eventually got both NES Zelda games, but I got them so late. Both of them are actually gray cartridges. And for those, kind of know the Zelda history, they first came out in America with gold cartridges. And there are gray cartridge versions that exist, but they were later printings. And so these, these were very late in the lifespan of these games. And that's kind of when I got both of them. And I didn't spend a ton of time with either. I remember Zelda 1 being very much a social game where you wanted to talk about it. You wanted to talk about where you're finding, what are you doing? What are you accomplishing in the game? What are you finding? Where are you finding these things? And I remember there was a lot of talk about that. And there was a lot of stuff, in Nintendo Power trying to decipher this game. And there was a lot of excitement with that. And by the time I got it and started playing it, nobody was really talking about it anymore. And by that time, we were starting to get into the internet. And so all the secrets were online. And I think that really kind of stifled some of the fun for me. It was also not my genre of game, despite the fact that I actually Link to the Past is one of my favorite games of all time. But for some reason, that didn't translate at the time back to Zelda's 1 or 2. Now, as an adult playing these now, I'm really kind of taken aback at how good they are. Both of them. But at the time, I don't think I had a full appreciation of them. And that especially was true with Zelda 2. Zelda 2 has been described as the black sheep of the series. They went in a direction and immediately turned back around and never went back. For a very long time, Zelda 2 was talked about in mostly derision. That, this was the least of the Zelda games. That it's the awkward kid out in right field who should not even really be playing baseball, but he showed up and we needed the extra person. So he's the last one picked. So technically he's on the team, but really not really. That's the kind of reception it's gotten. I think that attitude is changing, and it's changing kind of in the same way that we are taking another look at Super Mario Brothers 2, the American Super Mario Brothers 2. In that it's the really weird left field, game of the series, but it's got a lot going for it. And there's a lot there to appreciate. And I think that Super Mario Brothers 2 was derided for some time and now is really gaining its prestige back, where Zelda 2, I think, was even more disliked by people. But I have no way to prove this. It's just that feeling that I get that it is starting to be appreciated for what it is now. So, what we're going to do after the break is we're going to approach the game and its tone through specifically the music, not the story, not the graphics, not the gameplay. We're going to start with the music and try to figure out what it's trying to say to us. But before we do that, we do have our new sponsor on the line, and we want to take some time to introduce him. We have on the line Phil from Phil's Gaming Emporium. Now, you're going to start hearing Phil's commercials in with the regular show, pretty much every week. We're going to be, kind of chatting with him at times to talk about some deals and stuff that he has. But at first, we really just wanted to kind of bring him on and to introduce him to everyone, to kind of get to know him a little bit. He is our new sponsor, going to be with us for a while. And so, Phil, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Kai, I really do appreciate you bringing me on today, and looking forward to talking with you and the crew. And I'm really ready. I'm really ready to rock and roll. Thank you so much for having me,
Phil. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. And like I said, you're with Phil's Gaming Emporium. This is, you really focus on retro gaming. You specialize in 16-bit, 18-bit, 8-bit and 16-bit eras.
That's right. That's going to be an 8-bit, not an 18-bit. That's the first thing you learn in Phil's Gaming Emporium. If you come in here looking for 18-bit games, we don't have them. That's not a thing. That's never been a thing. We're not going to sell them. We're not going to cheat you out of your money by pretending something is an 18-bit game.
Phil, it was just a slip of the tongue.
Slip of the tongue or no? Look, that's not what we carry. That's not the game we play here at Phil's Gaming Emporium. We're here to get you the best deal. We're here to find the game that you want. We're not here to cheat you out of your money. We're not here to steal from you, to pretend like, to make up games and to pretend like they're games and to say, yeah, this is an 18-bit system.
Phil, okay. Just forget that. Okay. You are located in the Nashville area, but you do have a website, philsgamingemporium.com, and you are ready to ship. You keep your inventory online. You're ready to ship anywhere in the world, and that's why you are you're trying to build your presence here with us. And
I'm not trying to build up any president. That's not my game. We don't do politics.
Phil, okay, I'm a little tired. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired. I keep saying the wrong thing.
That's okay. I don't mind that at all. We'll just kind of keep rolling with it.
Yeah, you're trying to build your presence online. Is what I'm trying to say. And so, you're coming on the show today. We're going to start running your ads. Tell the audience about some specials that you're having on a week-to-week basis.
That's right. I'm really excited about all the specials that we have going on at Phil's Gaming Emporium. That's very important to us, is that we want to feature certain items. We want to, make sure that the customer knows about them. We're not into just, all of the super common games that you see all the time that, that everybody's sick of, everybody has, nobody wants them. They dump it off with us. We'll take them. We'll take games off your hands for a couple of bucks, maybe some store credit, but we don't want that. We want the stuff that people are interested in playing, that they've never seen before, that they're excited about. And that's the kind of thing that we are trying to do with our specials. We're trying to feature some certain products that you might not know about, that you may never have heard of, and really show them off, so that we got a Nintendo hooked up here in the store. You can play these games, you can check them out, you can make sure they're working properly, and then you can take them home for a modest fee.
Well, that sounds great. So what kind of games do you have going on? What kind of specials do you have right now?
I gotta tell you, it's one of the biggest games of all time. I cannot believe how good this game is. I cannot believe how important this game is. I cannot believe that more people don't have this game. We're featuring Super Mario Bros. 3 right now, low price, $200, and you can take it. It's out the door. It's yours.
Wait, for Mario 3, 200? That seems a little high.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand how big this game was. You don't understand how popular this game is. This is the going rate for super popular games that everybody's been looking for. This game, people have been looking for this game for 30 years.
People have been looking for the game and they never found it.
Well, I didn't say they never found it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that game sold a lot of copies.
They probably found it, and the game probably they played it. They played the snot out of this game. I gotta tell you, We get these in. They've been well used. That's a quality game right there. You know it's quality because it's been well used, and that's why everybody just been raving about this game for 30 years. You need to play it. You need to get it. You can get it through us. We have a few copies left. It's incredible.
But that's, I mean, that's not a rare game.
No, it's not a rare game. It's super. I mean, it was huge. Do you understand how big Super Mario Brothers 3 was?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, aren't the prices kind of set based on how rare they are?
No, don't be silly. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I got this game in the other day, track and field. Nobody played the game. You know why? It's terrible. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants the game. That's why it was rare, because nobody bought it. Super Mario Bros. 3, that's a classic. That's the highest quality gaming right there. You don't want to look at the games that didn't sell anything. Those are bad games. The market has given us a good indication about what's quality, what's really good, and what you want to play, and that's really what we should go on. I mean, look, the market's not perfect. They miss on some real gems, okay? But usually, game sells a lot. You can trust that it's good quality, and you want to pay top dollar for those games because I tell you what. We test the games, we make sure they're good, we make sure they're in good working order, and then we pass that on to you with our seal of approval right on the box. I put my initials on the back of each one. I do a little circle around it. It's like my own brand, and that's to say, hey, Phil, check this game out. Phil says this is good. That's the one that you want. We guarantee it. We guarantee it that if you play it in the store and it's broken, then we won't sell it to you because that's silly, right? That's silly. And that's not what we're going to do at all. So you want to come down to the store, you want to check it out, you can. We have this webcam set up where if you come online, and if you got to message me, okay? You got to message me. But if you come online and you message me, and we had this webcam set up, and if I'm helping somebody in the store, I'm helping somebody in the store. But if you want to say, hey, I'm really interested in the Super Mario Bros. 3. I've heard good things. This is a game I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. I'm ready to drop the money on it right now. Phil, can you show me that this is a working order game, and I will play the game for you online, because not everybody can come down the store. We're in Nashville. You're not everybody's in walking distance from the store or anything, but we want to show you that it's a good working order game. And so I'll play the game for you online and show you how good of a game this really is. And so do check us out, philsgamingemporium.com. Pick your games there, message me, make sure, I don't have a customer sitting in front of me, and I'll play these games for you, and I'll tell you how great they are and how much you need them.
I feel like you can get, Super Mario Bros. 3, let's take a look. How much can you, we're gonna jump over to eBay.
eBay, come on, that's what a ripoff eBay is. You don't know what you're getting from eBay.
What? No, but let's check out eBay real quick, because I want to see. All right, Super Mario Bros. 3, NES. Okay, so you can get. I'm seeing this for. Just really consistently. A little over $10, 20. 15, $20.
Well, no, look at the pictures. Do those have my seal of approval on it? It's going to be right on the background in the top right corner. That's how you know. All right? I personally tested these games, all right? I cleaned them out myself. And that's how you know. If you don't see that seal on there, if you don't see that brand on there, you don't know what you're getting.
Well, but a lot of these a lot of these stores have guarantees on it if it's not working or whatever.
How many retro gaming stores can you play the games?
Well, I've been to a couple that you can actually do that.
No, that's nonsense. That's never happened before. It only happens here at Phil's. That's our trademark. We've trademarked that. If somebody else is doing that, tell us who they are. We'll sue them.
Well, you're going to sue somebody for letting them play the games?
Yeah, that's trademark. That's like a trade secret. Do you understand trade secrets? You understand you understand work product?
Not really.
Well, that's what work product is. You ever see one of those lawyer shows? They say, "Hey, judge, they can't do that. That's work product."
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Well, that's what work product is. That's what work product is. That's what we're doing. That's our thing. That's what we invented. We invented testing out the games. That's our, that's Phil's trademark.
I don't really. Phil, I don't know about that.
Look it. I mean, guys, look. I mean, if you're not on board with this, there's no problem. There's no problem. It's like not everybody sees the vision. Not everybody sees what we're trying to accomplish. Not everybody understands us. Not everybody just really like. I mean, you see all these people online, and they're like, hey, you shouldn't charge anything from games, and that's ridiculous. And I'm like, well, hey, I got mouths to feed. I have some children. I got a wife. I got I got to pay the bills.
Well, no, I'm not saying you should give away the games.
Oh, well, good. Well, then we understand each other. Look, I'm not trying to put an exorbitant price on these games. I want to direct people to the good stuff. And the way I direct people to the good stuff is by pricing that stuff higher than like the garbage. And that's why, I occasionally would get a copy of stadium events, whatever, I just slap the price on it, put it there right out on the shelf, and some poor schmuck will take it, but goodness, when I get a baby like Super Mario Brothers 3, if I get like a Legend of Zelda, if I get one like the really great like Contra, like Contra. Have you ever played Duck Hunt? Have you ever played Duck?
Well, yeah, of course I've played Duck Hunt.
I mean, that game is so intense. It's so intense. Do you know TV manufacturers have banned it? And they have structured the television so that you can't even play that game on modern TVs because they were worried. They were worried that if you started playing Duck Hunt, your mind would be blown so much that you wouldn't watch normal TV again. So they got in league, and they were paid off by the big networks to make their TVs so that if it sensed that you were trying to play Duck Hunt, it wouldn't even work anymore.
Well, I think that's how look, that's true. The light gun doesn't read like the modern TVs, but I think that's just the way it deals with like light and stuff.
No, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Now, what's incredible is that intense of a game, is actually packaged with another one of the greatest games of all time, Super Mario Brothers. And you can get both games. You can get both games for a low, low price, $550. That's a steal. You first of all get one of the true great classics, the Mario game that started the Super Mario Brothers series, and you also get this game that they're like literally the television networks banded together with like Sony and RCA to just destroy.
I don't really think that's what happened.
But seriously, you need an old-fashioned TV if you're going to play that game. So, hey, you take it home, you say, hey, buddy, this doesn't work. I'm going to say, well, what kind of TV you got? And they're going to tell me that it's one of the new ones. I'm like, no, that's one of the TVs that banned the game. You need an old one. And then your mind is going to be blown, guaranteed, not with an actual guarantee. That's just a figure of speech.
Okay, Phil, I don't know what to say with all of this.
Say you're on board with me, Kai. Say you're on board.
I just don't know.
Kai, say you're on board with me. Do you see the vision? Do you see the vision of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to direct people to high quality games, tested them myself, I've branded them myself. I'm making sure that your gaming, that your game time is spent on quality games. And that's what I want to do for your listeners. That's what I want to do for you, Kai. That's what I want to do for you.
This doesn't seem... I don't know. This just really seems weird.
Kai, do you see the vision of having a paid sponsor on the show?
Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. Go to philsgamingemporium.com and check out the stuff there. He will actually play these games online for you. And so do check that out. And we are going to jump to a break, and we will be right back. Hey Drum, did you know that the Techno Funk Boy isn't just a group of podcast hosts that live inside a Super Nintendo?
Really?
That's right, we're also a band.
Tell me more.
We're a retro gaming inspired band that plays covers of classic video game themes, original game music, and other music in the style of classic games.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and you can find our first full-length album on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby. It's called The Final Fantasy Mixes, and it's an EDM tribute to some of Uematsu's best musical themes. Check the episode notes for links or go to Techno Funk Boy to learn more.
Techno Funk Boy sounds like the greatest band that has ever existed.
I programmed him to say that.
I'm back.
Okay, we are back. Now, as promised, we're going to enter into the world of Zelda 2 a little bit differently. I'm not going to talk about plot. I'm not going to talk about gameplay. What we're going to talk about is music. And through the music, kind of try to get an idea of what kind of game this is. Now, a few things to know. The original Legend of Zelda was composed by the great Koji Kondo, who is just a legend in video game composition, who did the original Zelda, who did the original Mario themes, and it has just all the stuff that we hum from the 80s is mostly from him. Now, the Adventure Link, this game came out really quickly after the original Legend of Zelda. It was actually just under a year. It was about 11 months after the game. It was a really short production time. And the game was composed by Akito Nakatsuka. Now, Nakatsuka had been doing video game composition for a few years at that point. Had done way back stuff like, that we know, like from Excite Bike, from Ice Climber, some of the stuff from Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and so has some good big titles under his belt. But he comes in and he's got to translate the just even now iconic Zelda soundtrack into a new game. And here's one of the big problems. It's a different type of game than the original Legend of Zelda. And so just transporting, a very, very similar soundtrack is not going to work. He's got to do something that is exceedingly challenging. He's got to do something familiar enough that it feels like the old game, and yet it feels different. And so, to kind of accomplish this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to listen first to the older version. We're going to first listen to Legend of Zelda, and then we're going to check out what Nakatsuka does with the music in Zelda 2. So first, let's check out the overworld theme, the original overworld theme from The Legend of Zelda. Okay, now I want you to pay attention to the use of triplets in here and the exchange between the long tones and the really fast, shorter tones. Okay. All right. So, those things that I wanted you to hear. So, if you're not familiar with the music terminology, the triplets are when, as you're going to hear them, it's like especially at the very, very beginning of the song. What they normally do is they do a triplet with then a longer note at the end. So, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, like that. That is actually going to be the connecting point that Takatsuka uses to tie these two games together. Now he's actually opening the piece in the exact same way as Koji Kondo does, and that's when we turn on the game, we're going to hear that opening theme, and that's going to tell us, yes, we are in the world of Zelda. We're in a Legend of Zelda game, but then he immediately takes it in a different direction. The reason I wanted you to listen for the exchange between a series of shorter notes and then a long tone is because that is where Takatsuka is really going to depart from the original piece. We're going to start the same way, and we're going to pull it up right here. Here, the same opening, right? So, all right, so we're still hearing those triplets. So you can still hear those triplets. Da 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 da. That's that same rhythm that's going through both tunes. That's really kind of tying them together. But Takatsuka is in the melody is much more focusing on just really punchy, immediate notes on the beat themselves. And so instead of doing like a da 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 da, okay, what he's going to do is really hit the beat of da 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 da, over and over again. Just, a really fast hit on that note, and he's not usually holding them for very long. The longest notes we're finding in here are what's called quarter notes. And that's kind of the da 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 da. So even those are really fast. They're their departure away from the da 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 da. That longer tone, followed by just a burst of energy. We still have those parts, but the focus then is in those successive quarter notes. Where we get the rhythm is kind of at the flourish in between phrases, da 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 da, like that part. So in the drums you hear kind of like that, and that's where we're getting that connecting rhythm. But the difference is, and this is where I want us to kind of think about this a little bit, and what is it that we're feeling? What is the images jumping to mind when we hear these two differing styles? And it's hard to separate these from the games themselves. I know that. Most of us have played Zelda before. I would say probably most of us had played Zelda 2 before. So we know what the games are like. But just setting that aside, what are these songs telling us about the game? The things that come to my mind when I'm listening to the Zelda 1 theme is kind of this epicness to it, this grandness to it. It's got that just really, bold, forceful energy to it that you would hear more in a Lord of the Rings film, in that sort of just sweeping epic type of a thing. What the song is really preparing us for is going out on an adventure in the forest. There's magic all around. There's there's darkness. You're alone. You are literally you got a sword and a shield, and you're going after the bad guys in this magical world filled with fairies and elves and evil creatures. Now Takatsuka's piece tells us the same thing, but I'm not hearing Lord of the Rings anymore in it. I'm more hearing, one of the Swashbuckling adventures. I'm more hearing, one of the old fashioned epic adventures like a Jason and the Argonauts, like Robin Hood and his merry men, like an old pirate movie or something like that. It's got an energy to it, but it's not a journey into the mist type of an energy. It's a, pirates are boarding the ship and I've got my rapier and we're dueling it out. These are parallel themes, but they speak something different to us. The Swashbuckling adventure is not nearly as much about mystery. It's not nearly as much about the unknown. It's about skill and flourish and agility and, overcoming great odds and, with just, with that same type of a sword, but used in a different way. There's a difference between in some fantasy movie fighting the goblin with a sword versus a pirate movie when you're sliding down the sail by stabbing it and letting it break your fall and then punching out some pirate. And we might even use the same type of enemies here. It's like the deep dungeon in Zelda will have some animated skeletons in it. Well, so did Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's a different type of thing. The first one has this sense of dread to it, this sense of unknown, this otherworldly sense to it. The latter has much more of a sense of fun and adventure. I'm kind of struggling to explain the difference because they are so parallel. But there's a playfulness there that you don't find in the original Legend of Zelda. And that's telling us something about the game. That's telling us something about how this series has changed from the first installment to the second installment. We're going to hear it even more when we get into the dungeons. So, we're going to first hit the labyrinth theme from Zelda 1. Okay. Now, this is a famous theme here, right? There's nothing playful about this. There's nothing action-filled about this. This is pure dread. This is pure fear. This is I'm going into the darkness, and there are creepy crawly things there. All right. Now we're going to stop that. We're going to jump over to Death Mountain, which is, stage 9, the last dungeon in Zelda. Okay, even more amped up. But the same themes, right? The same kind of feeling we get. But it's this, you're on the edge of your seat, not because it's just so darn exciting. You're on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's coming around each corner. You don't know what kind of horrors await you. Jump over to like the battle theme and palace themes from Zelda 2. Okay, here's the battle theme. Wow, so much more energetic, right? Now this is an overworld battle. The battles are kind of structured differently here in Zelda 2 than they are in Zelda 1. You don't have like a random encounter in Zelda 1. There's just enemies everywhere. In Zelda 2, you go into a battle screen, and this is what you get. Right? So you notice you still have that little bit of dread in there, that little bit of worry in there. But what is the driving force of the song? It's not the mysteriousness of it. It's not the fear of it. It's the action of it. And again, you get those same sort of, those popping notes on the beats that's really driving things forward. Let's check out the palace theme. So, all right, now it's very similar, right? We have the mystery in there. We have the intrigue in there. We have that sense of unknown and fear in there. But that's not the important part. The important part is there's a hero, and he's going in and he's facing off against the enemies with his sword, in action scenes. Even in the overworld, we've seen that change in tone that we've gotten in this game, but especially when we get underground, we really, really start to feel it. This is a much more upbeat game. It's a much more action-filled game. It's a much more adventure-focused game than Zelda 1 was. And that's what these songs are trying to communicate. That change is being broadcast to us through the music of the game itself. And so it's part of the whole package when we see the change in format of the game, which we're going to talk about, this change in gameplay of the game, which we're going to talk about. When we see these things in the game themselves, they're communicating to us how we're supposed to play the game. But the music is telling us, is giving us a big clue on what to do next. What do you want to do when you hear the Zelda 1, dungeon themes? Is it causing you to kind of race forward and for glory and to take out the enemy? It's the kind of thing, if you're playing this in a Dungeons and Dragons setting, right? You could actually feel the adventure slow down. And it's going to start being about gathering clues, gathering chests, figuring out puzzles. When you start playing the battle theme or the palace theme from Zelda 2, that's when you're expecting, this is an encounter with some monster, some boss or something like that, that we start, instinctively going into action mode. It's like this is what's communicating to us that we need to be fighting something. And that is where we get the connection with these Zelda games. The different approaches to the Zelda games is really well communicated through these songs. And I think that Takatsuka did just an amazing amazing job telling us basically, this is how this game has changed. Do this instead. So for those who have played both games, Zelda 1 is very much about figuring out the puzzles, finding the secrets, going out into the unknown, and conquering and trying to find the right block to push to make something open, trying to find the right bush to burn, to find the staircase, to trying to figure out how this map comes all together. When you get underground, it's like that. It's like that on steroids, where you're trying to find your way around to find that boss in that Triforce piece, and that is the critical point. That you've got to navigate this series of puzzles, and there are plenty of enemies along the way, and sometimes the enemies play into those puzzles, but that's what you're getting in Zelda 2. Yeah. Okay. So there are, some of the palaces are very maze-like, but the mazes are really mostly just a matter of exploring. There's not a lot of puzzles. There's some, there are secrets, but it's mostly a matter of getting out there and fighting your way through it. And that is a big theme of Zelda 2 is, even when you're encountering things on the world map, the quasi-random encounters, I say quasi because the enemies do appear on screen and then chase you, but even the quasi-random encounters is you've got to kind of muscle your way through this thing. The palaces do have some maze elements, but if you're diligent about paying attention to where you are, they're much easier to figure out than the Zelda 1 counterparts are. It's not about that. It's about, figuring out the enemy's weakness and dueling them down. And we're going to get more into the dueling aspect of the game and that sort of thing, but it's much more about the fight. It's much more about the action. It's much more about your competence with a sword and your ability to do, some amazing moves to get through your enemies and to your goal. And so if you come out of Zelda 1, your instinct is going to be pushing blocks and trying to, let's kill all the enemies in the room and see if something opens. But the music communicates to you, don't do that. Fight. That's what you're doing here. So in essence, the dramatic change in the way the music is presented in Zelda 2 is really highlighting the dramatic change in gameplay and complementing that gameplay and acting as somewhat of a tutorial on what to do next. So ultimately, the change between what is really kind of more of a puzzle focused action adventure to a more action focused action adventure has to have an accompanying change in soundtrack. So I'm really impressed with the way Takatsuka takes the elements from the original game, takes the themes, takes the rhythms of the original game to make you feel at home, but also to communicate that greater change. It's impressive stuff, and I'm really enjoying the soundtrack of the game. And looking forward to get farther into it, which is what we're going to be doing for the next at least a couple of weeks, especially as I get farther into the game. We're going to be talking more about the game itself and where it sits in the kind of the Zelda universe. And also how it stands as a game by itself. And so please do join us for that. But that is going to be it for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do hope that you will head over to our Twitch page, twitch.tv/TechnoFunkBoy. Follow us there. We do try to at least stream 3 times a week. and unless something crazy like illness gets in our way, but that is something we strive for each and every week. So we hope to see you there. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
The Retro Zoo Super Show is brought to you by the Techno Funk Boy. Follow us on Twitter at Techno Funk Boy, on Facebook at the Techno Funk Boy, and sign up for our email list at technofunkboy.com. Also look for us on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon for music. If you are so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast catcher. If you are not so inclined, you are obviously some sort of villain trying to conquer the world. Unowned music and gameplay clips are used for educational and critical purposes. Thank you for listening. Keep gaming. Unless you have responsibilities that need to be done at this time, then you can game later.